Now, the rest of the story.
Welcome back to the rest of the story. If you look out that way, Ryan's driving away. Seems kind of silly loading into a gravity box, hauling back to the home farm up the road, but to get into this farm, the driveway is steep enough. The field is, well, not quite as rough as it used to be, or as it was. But with running the cart and this, the combine has yet to stop yet for anything other than breakdowns. And the only reason we had a breakdown is because I unplugged the sensor for the straw chopper to work on it. I didn't plug it in, so it'll run fine without the sensor plugged in, other than the fact that we threw the belt and we filled up the back end of the combine with corn residue, you know, the stalks and the cobs and leaves, whatever else. So didn't damage anything, just had to climb in and clean it out, which it's all dry material. Things have really dried down in the week since we've last combined corn. And we're not up at the home farm. This isn't wind damaged corn. The outside rounds on this field had a little bit of down corn in it, but not to the point where we felt we had to run the corn reel. The corn reel has been taken off. We still have the support bars on it, but right now the goal is just to fill bins. That's it. That's the plan. You guys are probably wondering why I look like I'm so short. I don't know if the camera's catching it, but I'm driving in the reclined position in the 76. I've been noticing that the seat has gradually been migrating backwards. Well, today was the final straw. I pulled into the pasture to get into the back 40, and kapow, bang, oops, uh-oh. The frame, the two pins that hold the suspension up, part of the suspension, had given out. They were worn completely through, and I mean, there was like nothing. There's nothing there. So $600 later, and I'm waiting a couple days for parts, I'll be able to put this back together. The thing is, they're not calling for rain until Sunday, last I checked, and not even high chances of rain. Today is Wednesday, the 14th of October. I'm gonna run. Why didn't I switch over to the 4640? Simply put, this tractor is a lot more awesomer on the road as far as road work, grabbing gears and shifting gears, and what was it? Grabbing gears and disappear. Tractor just does it better. The 4640, with the transmission it has in it, it's just not as convenient. I mean, I'm an experienced operator. I can handle it if I need to. But then also you got to factor in that the 4640 has the duals on it, and I really don't want to run the duals up and down the road. For one, it is road wear, so you got to worry about that. Coming out of the field here, you got to mind what you're doing. So I turned the front wheel assist into the auto position, shift down to 9th, 10th gear. 10th gear was evidently too fast, so we'll drop down to 9th. I don't have a full load on, but according to the cart, I got 22,000 pounds on. 25 to 30 is pretty close to a full load. The stuff is coming off the field dry. Not super duper perfect dry, but the driest I've ever seen it come off the field in probably 5 years. What is dry? Well, preferred dry I think is 14.5% moisture if you're going to store it for any real amount of time. In the past, the common number was 22 to 25. It's a lot of water you gotta haul. This stuff is heavy because there's not a whole lot of water in it. It's actually coming out of the field. I haven't seen anything over 17% yet. I've seen 17.9, but nothing at all 18 and above. So what are you gonna do with it? Oh, we're basically just dumping it in the bins, and we don't have enough on-farm storage, unfortunately, to hold it as long as we would like. Or we don't have enough on-farm storage to hold all of our projected bushels we'll be harvesting. So when it's coming off the field that dry, I'm kind of just in the middle of the road as to whether or not I really want to dump it into the Sioux bin, which is a drying bin, go to the hassle of drying it down the little bit that it would need at this point, you know, for how dry the stuff is, or dump it directly into our storage bin and save ourselves the trouble of having to handle this corn twice and transferring it from the Sioux bin over to the Sioux cup bin. I'm kind of in the side of the road where I'd rather just fill the Sioux cup bin directly, throw some air on it, try to get it dried down as best we can, and this stuff will be sold and gone before we get into the heat of next summer. Generally, that's what burns you. It seems like when the stuff starts to go out of condition. If I've ever had any grain in the bin start to get a little funky or start to try to do some quality degrading, it's usually when you start getting up in the 60s, 50s, high 50s, 60s in the spring. For the last few years, we've been selling it May, June. This year, it's pretty much going to be like river open. Ryan is actually kind of asking for that because when it comes to hauling, it's a lot more easier to work into the schedule if he's able to do it when there's still snow on the ground. Late March, early April, we're starting to check fence. Field work really doesn't start, not very commonly, until mid to late April. So there's plenty of time for him to get the stuff moved out. And when he's hauling it out of the bins, he actually can make really good time as long as he's not having to sit and wait to unload. So, which is good. As far as the corn that's not going to fit in the bins, the price is actually better for November delivery by about 17 cents. But the problem you get into is it's middle of October. Do you really want to run the risk of sitting on your hands and burning away potentially a week of nice weather, nice running weather, and crossing your fingers and hoping that November will be all right and you'll be able to get anything done in November? I don't know, that convenience thing of having more done in October as you can kind of plays into it. And I am kind of flirting with the idea of selling a portion of our extra bushels for October. But I haven't decided yet. Because right now I'm more or less just content with focusing on getting the bins full. We get the bins full as we want them, and pretty much see what's left over. So I'm only going to take out one of the, just a wagon load of corn, get it weighed, see how many bushels it actually is, but then I'm actually planning on running it through the feed mill, mixing some mineral in with it, some pellets, and I'm actually going to fill that bulk bin at Rockville with my own corn as opposed to having to buy grain. I mean, it just makes sense at this point. If it's coming off the field dry enough, I don't have to worry about it going funky in the bin. It's not going to be a lot of grain. I mean, a wagon load, big whoop. But I have 15. Actually, I just had another calf. So one of the cows that I thought was open didn't get bred back. She did. It's just that she decided she's going to be a fall calver. The problem is, Mom didn't tell me about it. Oh, let me rephrase that. Mom told me about it. She saw the calf the other day, the day it was born. Problem is, I couldn't go look for the thing until a week later. The problem is, when it comes to calves, they usually develop pretty quickly the ability to get up and haul ass. And that's exactly what he can do. I was bahawing through the pasture with Brittany's four-wheeler. I wouldn't dare do that to mine, you know. I'm kidding. I actually would prefer using my four-wheeler over Brittany's, just because it's a manual shift four-wheeler. The automatic, it's nicer being able to pick and choose your gears, especially going through some of the terrain that I had to go through to chase that calf. I don't think Brittany will let me do it. No, let me rephrase that. Brittany would let me do it. I was thinking about selling her four-wheeler and going buying a Honda Rincon. I mean, the big one. You know, similar to the one Brittany's got, you know, at least it's a Honda. I'm a Honda person, of course. But Brittany was okay with the idea of me selling her four-wheeler. But she actually would rather me go buy a side-by-side, which I understand. A side-by-side down at our place that we could use for even like with Relina and doing stuff like that would be beneficial. But then the problem is, like this time of year, the cattle seem to keep getting out. Or not the big cows, but the calves. They walk through the fence. I mean, perfectly good 5-barb fence, and a calf, I don't know what it is, if their hide is just, you know, impervious to barbed wire, but they literally walk right through it. I mean, 300-400 pound calf, and I mean, it's almost like it's not even worth having the fence there. So I'm back to the bins, and I got to keep moving. I don't know how much longer we're gonna run because Dad worked last night, 6:30. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls the pin before too long anyway. Ideally like 9, 10 or so, but I think we're making good enough time as it is. The reason we're back in the part of the farm that we're at my place, it's the 40. We call it the 40. It's been known as the 40 for ever and ever. I always have people off and on ask me if we're going to let the cows out in the field to clean up the fields. Of course I'm going to. All the cows that are down at my place, my cows and my dad's cows, I hauled mine down there a month and a half, 2 months ago. Cows, calves, and everything are going to go out in the field. The reason that we're doing the 40 is because I can get the cows out there quicker. I mean, as long as the fence is good, check the wires in the fence, let them out, clean up any ears of corn, the fence lines, the waterways, clean it all up. They'll have it done in a week or two. Then I can go through and chisel it. The original plan was to not do any tillage down at my place this year. You know, just let the cows have the field, and we'll do the tillage next spring. But because this harvest is early, but I don't know if I necessarily want to say that this harvest is early. I'd say this is more like trend line. This is what harvest used to be. I mean, not that long ago. The last 4 or 5 years has just been challenging. I wouldn't say they're typical. It was like a wet few years where you lost the first 2 to 3 weeks in October and you didn't really get started in on harvest until the second half of October. Well, beans are done. It's pretty much just focused on corn right now, and as long as we have a place to go with it, we're gonna take the corn off, let the cows out down at my place. The plan is to let them out in the field out at my brother's place, extend out the amount of feed that we have to feed out as long as possible. I have about 400 bales of 405, I'm just gonna say 500, about 500 bales of hay that I'll have to I'll be selling throughout the winter here. Pretty much just waiting for it to get kind of crummy out and people start realizing they need feed for their animals. I'm not really hoping for a terrible, miserable, cold, super duper terrible winter. But the thing is, when you have feed to sell, like hay, forage, whatever else, bales, it does help a person get those moved at a better price consistently. So the price was stronger last fall, and then it actually got weaker throughout the winter because it was a mild winter. I'm rambling and I need to get to work. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. You guys are watching the rest of the story. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. Videos are scattered, videos are all over the place. It's my internet. Besides the fact I'm having a hard time getting videos filmed, I apologize. It's just the way it is. But the thing is, I got videos stacked on top of each other trying to upload, and it's not a computer issue. It's literally just the internet is just stalling out. It's taking me 2 days to upload a video compared to the like 6 to 8 hours it used to take to upload a video. I can't help it. It's throwing my schedule off, and I mean, let's face it, the channel's kind of going downhill anyway, so I'm trying. Thanks for watching. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys later.